There's a particular kind of exhaustion that sleep doesn't immediately fix. It is the exhaustion of a person who has become so accustomed to being productive that doing nothing begins to feel like doing something wrong. You finally sit down. There is nothing urgent, no deadline, no meeting, no one asking anything of you. And yet, somewhere inside you, a voice whispers, you should be doing something. You should be working. You should be building. You should be exercising. You should be creating. You should be answering that message. You should be further ahead by now. And suddenly, rest doesn't feel like rest. It feels like guilt. I know this feeling intimately. As an ambitious woman, I have had seasons of my life where productivity became almost synonymous with worth. There was always something to achieve, something to improve, something to solve, something to become. And because I have spent years working with talented women and gifted people as an image consultant and as a talent manager, I have also had the privilege of observing this pattern in others. I have watched extraordinarily capable women become uncomfortable with stillness, women who could manage businesses, careers, families, teams, and enormous responsibilities would sometimes struggle with the simple permission to stop, and that fascinated me. Because these women weren't necessarily lazy, quite the opposite. They were some of the most driven people I had ever encountered. But sometimes, underneath the ambition, there was a quiet belief. And that belief was, if I am not producing, I am not progressing. And that is where productivity becomes complicated. Productivity is a wonderful tool. It can help us build, it can help us create, it can help us become financially independent, develop our gifts, and contribute something meaningful to the world. The problem begins when productivity stops being something we do and becomes who we believe we are. When achievement becomes identity, rest can feel like an identity crisis. Because who am I when I am not accomplishing anything? Who am I when I am not improving myself? Who am I when I am not working toward the next milestone? Who am I when there is nothing to prove? That question can be surprisingly uncomfortable, and sometimes the body knows the answer before the mind does. Your body starts slowing down. You feel tired. You lose enthusiasm. You become irritable. Your creativity becomes harder to access. Things that once felt exciting begin to feel like obligations. But instead of listening, we often discipline ourselves harder. We tell ourselves we need more motivation, more structure, more consistency, more coffee, more determination. We interpret exhaustion as a character flaw instead of information. This is one of the things I have come to understand more deeply, and that is the body is not always resisting your ambition. Sometimes it is asking you to change the way you carry it. There's a difference between being committed and being constantly activated. There's a difference between ambition and urgency. There's a difference between discipline and self abandonment. And I think ambitious women, especially, deserve to understand this distinction. Because we are often celebrated for how much we carry, we become known as the woman who can handle it, the woman who gets things done, the woman who shows up, the woman who doesn't need much. And eventually, being capable can become its own kind of trap. Everyone expects you to keep being capable, including you. I have seen this in my work with talents too. Sometimes The gifted person becomes so identified with their gift that they feel they must constantly demonstrate it. The talented woman doesn't simply want to do well. She feels she must continually prove that she deserves the opportunities she has received. So even success doesn't necessarily create rest. Sometimes success creates a new level of pressure. You achieve one thing and immediately move the finish line. You accomplish the goal and ask, what is next? You become the person you once dreamed of becoming. And instead of pausing to inhabit that reality, you immediately begin working toward another version of yourself. And there is nothing wrong with growth, don't get me wrong, but there is something beautiful about asking yourself, can I grow without constantly rejecting where I am? Can I improve without treating my present self as inadequate? Can I be ambitious without being perpetually dissatisfied? Can I rest without believing I have fallen behind? Perhaps rest isn't the opposite of achievement. Perhaps rest is part of the architecture of meaningful achievement. Think about nature. There is expansion and contraction, day and night, inhale and exhale, growth and dormancy. Nothing in nature is in a permanent state of output, and yet we expect ourselves to be. We want the body to perform endlessly, the mind to generate endlessly, the creative spirit to produce endlessly. And then we are surprised when something inside us begins to go quiet. Maybe that quiet isn't failure. Maybe it is wisdom. Maybe your body is saying to you, come back, come back to yourself, come back to your senses, come back to your breath, come back to the part of you that exists beyond what you produce. This is something I have had to learn personally. There have been seasons where I had to question what I was chasing, what I was proving, and what I was willing to sacrifice in order to appear successful. And stepping away from work that looked successful externally but no longer felt aligned internally taught me something profound. A life can look productive and still be deeply misaligned. Sometimes the most productive thing you can do is to stop long enough to hear yourself again, not because you have given up, but because you are recalibrating. And perhaps that is the deeper invitation of rest. Not simply to sleep more, not simply to take a vacation, but to losing the belief that your value is constantly being measured by your output, to let your body exist without demanding performance from it, to let your mind experience a moment that doesn't need to become an idea, to let your spirit experience life without turning every moment into a project. Because you are not a machine designed to maximize output. You are a whole human being, and wholeness requires rhythm. There will be seasons of building, there will be seasons of becoming, there will be seasons of intense work, and there will also be seasons where your greatest work is invisible. Healing, listening, recovering, reorienting, being. And sometimes the woman who appears to be doing nothing is actually doing something profoundly important. And that profoundly important something is she is becoming available to herself again. So the next time you sit down to rest and guilt arrives, perhaps you don't have to fight it. You can simply notice it and ask, what am I afraid will happen if I stop? Will I fall behind? Will someone surpass me? Will I lose my edge? Will people think I am lazy? Will I become less valuable? Or perhaps the deeper fear is, if I stop producing, will I still believe that I am enough? That is the question worth sitting with. The goal isn't to become less ambitious. Perhaps it is to become an ambitious woman who no longer has to abandon herself in order to achieve. A woman who can work deeply and rest deeply. A woman who can pursue excellence without turning herself into a project. A woman who understands that her body is not an obstacle to her success. Our body is part of the intelligence that guides it. And perhaps one of the most radical things an ambitious woman can learn is this: you don't have to earn your right to rest by becoming exhausted first. You are allowed to pause before you break. You are allowed to stop before your body forces you to. You are allowed to enjoy something without monetizing it. You are allowed to have an afternoon that produces nothing measurable. You are allowed to simply be alive because your worth was never supposed to be a productivity score. And your life is so much more than what you manage to accomplish before the day ends. So, rest, not as an apology, not as a reward, not because you are finally done enough. Rest because you are human. And perhaps when you stop treating rest as the reward for achievement, you will discover something beautiful that you were never meant to spend your entire life trying to deserve the life you are already living. That is the message for today. I hope it lands safely with you. I hope it resonates with you. I hope it transforms your life. If it does, let me know what you think in the comment section below. And if you're interested in booking a one-on-one clarity session with me, link to book that session will be in the description box below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video, click on the notification button, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, stay feminine, stay confident, stay grounded, stay abundant, stay aligned, and keep blooming. May you always believe in yourself. I love you all so much, and I am rooting for you. Mwah. Bye.